It started like any ordinary day, but no one could have anticipated what was about to unfold. A woman, clearly frustrated and impatient, stormed into a bustling office building. Her sharp words and icy demeanor immediately caught the attention of a security guard stationed at the entrance, a young black man known for his calm professionalism. What began as a simple request to check her bag quickly escalated into something much darker. Her tone turned condescending, her comments laced with prejudice that left everyone within earshot stunned. The guard, standing firm yet respectful, tried to defuse the situation, but she wasn't backing down. Tensions rose, drawing a crowd of onlookers who couldn't believe what they were witnessing. Just when it seemed things couldn't get any worse, the guard did something so unexpected that it stopped everyone in their tracks. What happens next? You won't want to miss it. The woman's voice grew louder, her words sharp enough to cut through the tense atmosphere. People in the lobby whispered among themselves, unsure whether to intervene or let the guard handle it. The young man remained composed, his eyes steady as he carefully weighed his next move. It was clear this wasn't the first time he faced hostility, but something about this moment felt different. As the confrontation escalated, the woman's true feelings came to light. Her remarks weren't just about the inconvenience of waiting. They were pointed, meant to wound. The crowd exchanged uneasy glances, their discomfort growing with every word she hurled. But even in the face of such blatant disrespect, the guard stood his ground with quiet dignity. Then, out of nowhere, the building manager appeared, his expression a mix of concern and authority. The room went silent as he walked toward them, adding a new layer of tension. The manager approached slowly, his calm presence a sharp contrast to the tension crackling in the air. The woman immediately turned her frustration toward him, demanding an apology from the guard for what she called unacceptable treatment. The guard, still standing tall, didn't flinch. The manager glanced at the crowd, who watched in stunned silence, then back at the woman. "Ma'am, I assure you, our team follows strict protocol to ensure everyone's safety and respect," he said evenly. His measured words only seemed to fuel her anger. She doubled down, making personal jabs that revealed more about her than the situation at hand. Meanwhile, the crowd started to shift. Some whispered in defense of the guard, while others stayed quiet, unsure how to react. Behind the guard, another employee, a young woman, watched with concern. She seemed torn between stepping in and staying silent. What she knew, however, could change everything. The tension in the room was almost unbearable. The woman's voice, sharp and unrelenting, cut through the uneasy murmurs of the onlookers. The guard remained calm, his expression unwavering, though his eyes betrayed a quiet determination. The young woman behind him finally stepped forward, her voice steady but firm. "Ma'am, I think you should hear something before this goes any further," she said. The crowd fell silent again, all eyes now on her. The woman turned sharply, clearly irritated at being interrupted. "And who are you to tell me anything?" she snapped, her tone dripping with disdain. The employee stood her ground, glancing at the guard as if silently asking for his permission to continue. He gave a small nod. "You might not realize it, but this man, he did something incredible not too long ago," the young woman began. The room seemed to hold its breath as she spoke, each word raising more questions than answers. What was she about to reveal? The woman's impatience flickered into curiosity, but her defensive stance didn't falter. "Something incredible," she scoffed, crossing her arms. The young employee didn't flinch. Her voice grew stronger, and the crowd leaned in closer, sensing something important was about to unfold. "Yes," she continued. "Just a few weeks ago, this guard saved a child's life right outside this very building. A car sped through the crosswalk, and he didn't hesitate. He ran straight into danger to pull that little girl out of harm's way. The driver didn't even stop." Gasps rippled through the crowd, and the tension in the air shifted. For a moment, even the woman was silent, her expression unreadable. Then she shook her head, brushing it off. "What does that have to do with anything?" That doesn't change how he treated me today, she said, doubling down. But before anyone could respond, a voice called out from the back of the room. You're wrong, the voice said firmly. The crowd turned to see an older woman stepping forward. Her presence alone commanded attention, and the look on her face hinted that she held a truth no one had expected. The older woman walked toward the center of the room, her steps slow but deliberate. All eyes were on her as she looked at the guard, then at the woman who had been causing the scene. I know this young man, she began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. And I know his character. You see, the little girl he saved is my granddaughter. The crowd's silence turned into a wave of murmurs, disbelief spreading among them. The woman, caught off guard, faltered for the first time. She opened her mouth to speak, but stopped when the older woman raised her hand. You don't know what he's done, the risks he's taken for others. And yet, here you are, treating him like he's less than human. The woman's face turned red, a mix of embarrassment and anger. But before she could respond, the guard finally spoke. His voice was calm but firm. I'm here to do my job, to treat everyone with respect, regardless of how they treat me. But what happened today isn't just about me. It's about understanding that how we treat others reveals who we really are. The room fell silent again, and for a moment, it seemed the woman might apologize. But instead, she stormed out, her heels clicking sharply against the floor. The older woman turned to the guard and placed a hand on his shoulder. Thank you, she said softly. The crowd began to clap, a small but growing sound of support and gratitude. As the tension finally broke, the guard quietly returned to his post, his composure intact. But just as the lobby began to settle, the young woman who had stepped in earlier approached him, holding out a small piece of paper. In case you ever need someone to back you up again, she said with a smile. The guard looked down at her note, surprised to find a phone number. The twist wasn't just in the confrontation, it was the unexpected connections that formed in its aftermath. As the crowd slowly dispersed, the energy in the lobby felt lighter, almost hopeful. The guard stood quietly, his professionalism unwavering despite the emotional whirlwind of the last few moments. He glanced at the note in his hand and couldn't help but smile, a small reminder that kindness and courage don't go unnoticed. The older woman lingered for a moment longer, watching him with a look of admiration. People like you remind us that dignity and respect can change everything, she said before leaving. Her words stayed with him, echoing as he resumed his duties, greeting each person with the same calm and warmth he always did. Though the woman who stormed out left no apology, her actions had sparked a moment of clarity for everyone who witnessed it. The crowd had seen something deeper, a lesson in standing firm, treating others with humanity, and finding strength in compassion.